So Capcom revealed the first 4 characters of Street Fighter 6, and then the internet said, "Let's look at the other 18." So Street Fighter 6 had already been announced. We didn't know it was going to happen. It was a special moment because you only get one once a generation at this point. And that was pretty cool. Like, we got to see it. And then the internet was like, "Hey man, but what about the rest of the roster? Here it is, check it out." And I felt kind of bad, and I don't often feel bad for marketing departments because I mean, like, they ain't got nothing to do with me. I still got to pay $60 or $70. So like, I felt kind of bad because like, really, once you reveal all the characters, what else is there left for a fighting game to talk about? But I will say, I had no interest in Street Fighter 6 because like, I'm not a fighting game guy. Like, I can't. The time necessary to get good at those games is too long. I can't learn because all my friends have been playing fighting games for forever, and they would
I'm
just
sorry.
stomp me into the mud. And ain't no sense in apologizing. You know, it is what it is. You're just good at the game. You're supposed to. But like, I would just get stomped into the ground, and when you get stomped to the ground, you don't actually learn anything. You just the only thing you learn is how much it sucks to lose. So I didn't really care about this game until I saw a creative character run around Metro City and do a Shoryuken, and I was like, hold on, what are we doing here? And it looks like there is something of an open world, and they described in their words, immersive single player story. So I don't know how long or how in detail that is, but I do find that fascinating. They're bringing back World Tour mode from, I think, Street Fighter 3.
Alpha 3.
Alpha 3.
Alpha 3. Alpha
Yeah.
3. Thank you. I knew it was one of the motherfuckers. Alpha 3 is different from 3. My bad. But yeah, like, they're bringing back World Tour mode, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm actually very interested in that. I have always, like, there are a few fighting game universes that I like enough that if they made a single player game, I'd buy it. One of them is Street Fighter. Another is King of Fighters, and then Tekken is kind of there, but really Street Fighter and King of Fighters are the ones. And to see them kind of like go, yeah, we can do something like that. We can accommodate you. And I'm sure the goal is to get people in the door and hopefully pull them into online. I ain't going online, but I mean, like, at least you might get a sale out of me because I was kind of fascinated. So I know everybody here is a Street Fighter fan. Rakeem, how did you feel about the reveal, and then how do you feel about the open world and the leak?
The reveal was fantastic. It had like a nice tinge of like Street Fighter, the attitude of like urban, kind of like on the streets kind of feel. They introduced new characters. They brought them in with the old characters. So it's like, hey, this is our new generation version of like the Strike series, Street Fighter, like, you know, Second Impact, Third Strike. This is our new generation version of that, and we're not gonna F it up this time. Basically. So I was blown away. Like, graphically, it looks great. I think the tonal change in the characters. I love progression of characters in fighting games because I feel like sometimes fighting games don't progress their characters a lot, and they just kind of have the same character over and over again. And even though the timeline would change, that doesn't make any sense. This is much more interesting. I like Ryu's redesign. Chun-Li has a new redesign. I like that one too, but I really like Ryu's redesign. I was like, hey, he's not messing around this time. So yeah, as far as the reveal, the open world section, I just did not see that coming. I knew that Street Fighter, they learned their lesson from 5 because everybody knows the problem with 5 early on was that the content wasn't there with the game, and they really wanted to focus on the esports content. They're still focused on the esports content because we saw the commentary, esports commentary additions into the game. But this time they're like, we got you this time. We got a story mode. We got a creative character. We have things that people would like to play on their own with Street Fighter, and I thought it was a great addition. I myself love single player modes in fighting games and the competitive side, so I like to experience all of the game. So the more you put in there, the better it is for me. Now, as far as the leak, I looked a little bit at the leak just to see the new characters and everything, some of the redesigns. We can also talk about Broke Ken. That is hilarious.
Yo, the memes from that have been gold.
It's been when he actually
she took
comes
the
out
kids,
and tells that story.
She
Man.
took the kids.
Took the kids. I was like, my boy Ken, man. I ain't gonna lie. Ken Masters was like when I was a kid, my favorite Street Fighter character. So like, see him go out like this, go out sad. That's kind of sad. Hopefully he'll be able to redeem himself in the story mode. Who knows? If not, man, you know, I'll still play with your kid. I just hit them homeless uppercuts. But anyway, but anyway, I like the reveal. I think it did exactly what it needs to do. Introduce the new characters. It showed the redesigns of the old characters. It still, one thing I loved about it mechanically was that it showed elements of like different eras of Street Fighter. It said they had the parry system from the Strike series, and like they had focus attacks again with a new touch to them, and of course the watermark colors. The presentation is like bigger and more bombastic as well. Now I don't know how that's going to be implemented in the actual fighting game. Maybe they're going to tone some of that down because competitive people do not like when it's too over the top and distracts from the game. But I like it. I like everything about it. I hope it does well, and I'm excited for Street Fighter 6.
Terrence, how do you feel? How do you feel about the reveal, and then how do you feel about the leak?
The reveal was fantastic, like Rakeem said. It was, for me, this was the star of the show, not just because I'm a Street Fighter fan and I like fighting games, but because of how much information Capcom actually dropped on the game. Not talking about the leaks, just what they officially released. Like the fact that they actually talked about the battle system this early. They revealed information about the characters. They revealed the story mode, the world tour mode. Basically how the structure of the game is going to work. I did not expect us to get all that like this soon. Like I thought, it'd be like a little tiny, like it'll kind of like trickle down throughout the year up until the release next year. But to give us all that so soon is like, wow, like Capcom, they knew what they had to do. I'll put it that way. They knew that they couldn't make the same mistake they made with Street Fighter V, like Rakeem said, where Street Fighter V came out with it had a lack of content, and they were pretty much so focused on esports, but they were still trying to sell you a $60 game with nothing in it. And I think they realized this time around that they can't do that, so they went balls to the wall with it. And you know what? Props to them for it, because the big, and I'm not going to go on a tangent here, but the big thing that I've had a problem with in regards to like fighting games now is that it feels like, and this has been discussed online, a lot of FGC influencers have talked about the idea that it seems like fighting games now, they still want to be, they still, fighting game developers still kind of release fighting games as like arcade releases, but yet they still want to charge a full price for it. So you get your arcade mode, you get your online, you get practice mode, etc., but you don't really get much outside of it. And you get maybe like a story mode, but it's kind of like, it's whatever. The only company that was really taking things to the next level was NRS, if we're being honest, and everybody else was just playing catch up with them. And I think that if Capcom pulls off this World Tour mode and these other modes successfully, that I think they'll be on the level of NRS. And you know what? Props to them, because this is the kind of stuff we need to push genres forward. Like we need that like I thank you NRS for doing as well as you did with Mortal Kombat Injustice. Like it forced these other fighting game developers, especially Capcom, to like get their head out of their asses and realize that they needed to do better. So hey, I like the direction that I'm seeing for Street Fighter 6 now. And in terms of the leak, it's unfortunate because that is a lot of marketing down the drain. Because one thing that with fighting game events is that we look forward to is when we know that a new fighting game is on the horizon, you look forward to these tournaments where you potentially get to see like a new character trailer at the end of the tournament. And like Evo is in a couple of months, and we knew we're going to see Street Fighter 6 there, like definitely. So it's unfortunate that we know the roster and we know the characters that are going to come at all these reveals. But I'll say this: Capcom's been a good sport about it. Like they know the leak is out there. They put a tweet out about it, pretty much acknowledging like, hey, you all saw something that you weren't supposed to, but you know what? Hey, we appreciate the positive reaction to it. And that's the thing. People are actually reacting to this positively. Like the redesigns are great. Like everyone, in my opinion, looks good. Like Cammy looks good. I know some people are miffed about her having pants. Fuck you. if you feel that way. but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, like Jury looks great. Like even the new characters, they look interesting. I like what I'm seeing, and it gives me the same feeling that Guilty Gear Strive gave in terms of when it redesigned its entire cast. Like everybody looks significantly better than what they did before, and I feel the same way about the leaked images that we saw of Street Fighter 6. Like everybody looks great. So even though we know the cast in advance, I look forward to these new trailers because I want to see how what we saw on essentially paper or on our screens comes to life. So I'm looking forward to Street Fighter 6. Like what we saw at State of Play, this has me so hopeful for next year. Like I after Street Fighter 5, a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know, Street Fighter 6, man. I kind of like wait and see how it's gonna look. You know, people are kind of like down in the dumps about it, but Capcom has proved themselves. Like the Capcom Redemption arc continues. Like they've stepped it up. Like they've been doing a damn good job. And you know what? Hats off to Capcom. You listen to your fans and you're doing what you're supposed to. So just keep doing a good job. And yeah, hopefully this game will be good.